Welcome back. I'm Rodrigo, and this is the Get Started podcast, season 2. And actually, today we're going to be digging into something more personal, seeing more how creative minds grow, we'll say, and how they evolve, and how they can learn to rebuild, etc. And eventually, more critically, how to find your own voice through entrepreneurship. So my guest is Vanessa Michaelis, a designer turned entrepreneur and founder of the creative agency Soul Studios. And her story is built on creative experimentation, selling digital products, and early startup experience, and ultimately has now a shift more towards self-managed work. So Vanessa, it's great to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now, as I mentioned before we started, we're going to go more into your story from the beginning, the last few years, such as how you turned from a designer to now entrepreneur. So before you started Soul Studios and before entrepreneurship, were there any moments that you really realized that this is my world, this is what I can go forward to, let's say?
Like the creative side, yeah, how it started. So it actually started already early when I was a child. I was really creative and created all sort of stuff. And my mom is also very art interested and took me to a lot of art exhibitions early on. And yeah, she wanted to nurture my talent and sent me to an professional artist when I was around 15. And we worked on some drawing techniques at the beginning. But after some time, he asked me if I want to do that professionally, like going into art or design. And this was that I decided to go and study design after school.
Okay, so very much from the early ages, and you had that motivation, especially. But you said like drawing, and also by extension, then design, or what were you formally being taught? Let's say
it was more art.
Okay.
And then when I came to design university, then I learned all the design principles and yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because that leads us perfectly into the next one. So you have experience in UX design and photography and even teaching now design online. So when you now reflect in retrospect, let's say, what were the experiments or the creative sides that really gave you a solid foundation? Anything comes to mind?
Yeah. So like in my early years, I was like really, it was more on the art side. Like also the projects in the university were mostly like very free and not that commercial and stuff. And then the shift came to entrepreneurship actually when I did my thesis project in university, which was called Biodesignable. And it was about biodesign, which is actually an intersection between biology and design. And I created a magazine and interviewed as a scientist and researched a lot. And this project then led to my first startup experience because after I graduated, I was introduced to Pilzling, which is a mushroom farm startup in Cologne.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and then we had some conversations and we saw that we have a common interest in biodesign and biodegradable materials, like out of mushrooms especially. And so they asked me if I want to join, and so we co-founded it together for 1 year.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So, but then I want to go back really quickly. You said you were combining the biology aspect and also the entrepreneurial side for this was your bachelor thesis, correct? So what drove you, or what gave you such an interest to have this, let's say, the synthesis of these two?
Yeah, I was kind of interested to not just stay in the designer role, but combine it with another area, and biodesign, and it's also a lot about sustainability. And at that time I was like super interested in that and wanted to do something. I created this magazine to go deeper in this topic.
Yeah. Okay, I see. The biology aspect led you into not only sustainability, but then I guess you mentioned the mushroom startup. Okay, wow. So then Now also with your online shop, Calm.me Studio, does this also give you, let's say, a full playground to have more creative sides expressed, but also with digital products and templates, which we'll touch on more? What did you learn about iteration or end failure?
Yeah, so Calm.me Studio, I started that after the experience in the startup, and was my first attempt to start an online business on my own. And for that, I was researching how I can like utilize my skills I had, which were designing. And I saw you can like sell templates online. So yeah, I opened an Etsy shop, uploaded a lot. And at the beginning, nothing was happening. Like there were just crickets. And yeah, I just thought, okay, maybe that's not working. And but after some time, there were more traction for some products, and I could see like which were more preferred by the customers, and I went in this direction.
And you were selling the templates, right?
Templates, yeah.
Okay.
Like social media templates, but also like full packages for small business owners, for example, Airbnb hosts, and yeah. So I learned that I have to differentiate myself. Like after sometimes I also like refined my design style. So yeah, so that I can give my customers a professional design, but also it's really it gives them value because it's specific to their niche. Like for example, Airbnb hosts.
Yeah.
And yeah. And so it is still a process to always look what works and go in this direction, and yeah, and it's a nice extra income because when you upload digital products, you can distribute them as much as possible or as much as you want, and you don't have to ship it or something.
So for designing templates and also selling them, but also I want to touch on your, let's say, authentic branding, your more unique branding. How did you manage that? So is it like you want to adhere basically to the customer side? So let's say you're going to sell a template to an Airbnb customer, but you also want them to see that you're expressing your own brand. Because like, let's say, if a company is seeing this template and it looks rather generic, they're going to be less inclined, right, to want to. Or how did you manage that? Let's say it was more of a slow process, but there was a realization perhaps, or no?
Yeah, I mean, it is a mix out of like putting my personal style in, like what I see as like beautiful and professional design, and also like a mix like to have the templates really easy to use and functional. So I made them really minimalistic. So they were, so the my customers could like also change the font and colors, but they're also very like they look very natural, and there are a lot of like plants and natural colors in it, and I think that speaks to a certain business owner, like who are also more into sustainability and want to promote their businesses in a natural way. Because they have to envision and they have to see themselves or their business into this template, right? So it's like a mix of, as you mentioned, because I love minimalism first of all, but it has to almost like call them or pull them, like I want this, and this person is providing it, right? Okay. Then also very important for creatives in general, but I think you tend to learn the hardest lessons usually alone through iteration, trial and error. So what was a painful but necessary lesson that you learned, but you had to also push through, especially in this kinds of environments? I mean, there were some Well, and that's why I decided to go into entrepreneurship, because I felt like when I was just in a creative or designer role, I was getting handed a product and I have to design it, but I kind of wanted to be part of the whole process, like also decide what the product is about, and I also wanted to learn the language of business, I can speak with the other colleagues or clients. So this is why I also learned sales, marketing, business, and everything to be able to build my own business. And because before sometimes it felt like I'm just a stylist of other people's work. And some people are valuing that, but some people just see it as a nice to have. And it also gives you more credibility when you can add some numbers and business metrics to your designs.
It's everything, not only ownership, but also credibility. You can kind of keep repeating, hence the business side for creatives, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Then also, so for startups, but also for creative work, and also now companies, and also now accelerators, there's similarities, but also a lot of differences in these environments. Is there, for you, a principle that you follow in between? You move along this, like let's say for people or soft skills, etc., or also the mission. Is there something that you take with you in these environments?
Yes, so I switched to a lot of different environments in the past years, and it was actually because I wanted to find the sweet spot for me to where I could thrive, and this was why I was first coming from a company and agency, then going into freelancing and trying to just work on this freelance basis, and then building my own business. And then I thought, to build something bigger, it's also nice to work in teams again. So I applied for this accelerator and then was again part of bigger groups, and not just creatives, but different areas. And it's always a search for the perfect environment for myself. And we will speak about later, but this is also why I came to self-managed work, because I found in that kind of the solution to how to work in teams and how it could be very nourishing. And
Yeah, exactly. I love that. So it's really much worthwhile for people that are creative and also in business, or maybe vice versa, the correct environment. But it's not so much, I think, for it can't be too comfortable naturally, right? You have to have a certain threshold that you're actively trying to break or trying to surpass, let's say. But that's interesting to say, if it's different processes or different skill sets, but also the people you get to learn from in various, so you said like a digital agency or a creative agency or an accelerator, these timeframes will switch so much, right? Let's say. So I can resonate with that also. That kind of gives us perfect leeway, let's say, into the next section as we go a little more into, as we mentioned, self-managed work. So tell us a little bit more about Soul Studios, what exactly it is, how you founded it, and how you envision it also for the future.
Yeah, so Soul Studios started in the accelerator where I participated this year, and first I didn't start it in with the existing startups, so I was very open. I looked in different projects, but then I decided, I want to use this creativity and my experience I already kind of collected, and then decided to found Soul Studios with others. And because we're pretty young, I would say, we're still looking for the perfect market fit. And right now it's a lot about like housing and real estate, combining, like we want to focus on them. And yes, so, and about self-managed work, I mean, my interest in self-managed work was already there before START Studios. And when I founded that, I know I want to implement that when we grow, because yeah, this is how I envision it, how we will work in the future. Because when I come across self-management, there are already companies who are using that and who are like having a spike in productivity and in employer happiness. And I think this, like, it's not just good for the employees, it also can really, you can be a pioneer in showing other people how businesses can work nowadays.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it shouldn't be limited to, well, first of all, these kinds of, let's say, self-managed work or independence, and also putting your own brand, these things most likely started from the creative sides, firstly, right? So if they moved into now, let's say, a new working environment, and it shouldn't just be a relationship between the individual or the freelance and the business environment, but they can kind of work together in this regard, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then also, I mean, this is, like we said, the newer models for employee environmental, let's say, work. So how did you realize that the traditional models didn't work for you? So in relation to self-managed work, this was perhaps, it was too limiting, or talk about some experiences why the old structures didn't work for you.
Yes. When I was young, I just thought, okay, this is how things work. But after some time, I realized, okay, no, it's not working for me, because when I was like in very like rigid environments where they use like the old way with a lot of hierarchies and stuff,
yeah,
I not only I became very quick like sick and had migraine and stuff, so I really had to and when I went out of them, I didn't have any migraines anymore, so I could just feel it very on my body, and I couldn't like lie to myself that it's okay. Yeah. And yes, and then I was kind of experimenting with these different environments, and yeah, so what I don't think is like working for me is to be managed by somebody all the time and not getting the freedom to like deciding how I want to bring the results. Like I can decide for myself, but the results can should be there at the end. I think it's okay to expect from the colleagues that they have to get shit done, but to give everybody kind of the power back to do it on their own, and that they get the trust and freedom which they deserve. And there's also a company which I really like. They also work a lot with self-management. They're called Voice in Netherlands, and their kind of mantra is like they are not working without a boss, but they are a company only out of bosses, like consisting out of bosses. So every employee is kind of a boss.
Their own boss.
Yeah, their own boss. And this is like a perfect example to give them the power back, and not like, also the language about which a lot of companies use, like you work under somebody or above somebody, is like kind of not really fitting for me. And why not saying you work besides each other? Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
That also, it's really important. It resonates because, I mean, for one, the traditional model was, you know, from 200, 300 years ago or whatever for the industrial age, right? For saying, okay, we're going to have this hierarchy and we're just going to have people that are going to be obedient and trained, very structured. So no surprise, it's not working anymore, right? And exactly, I mean, it's really interesting to see how people want to now, generally, I think our generation, we want more independence and we want more self-management. So it should naturally be more flat and less hierarchical, right? Yeah. And so what kind of things do you look for in projects? They don't have to relate directly to what you do now, but is there something that is very attractive to you in a project that you're like, okay, I have to go check this out, or at least read about it, or meet this person? What is your, let's say, maybe you have your own mantra that you want to explore more?
Yes, so I'm a big fan of projects where there's a lot of like open-mindedness and kind of innovative thinking. This like really attracts me, that we want to work on something which is kind of new, and there's also a lot of freedom involved. And the person who would maybe hire me, or the client, also trust in my abilities. So this is a yes for me. And when I will be placed in the execution role and don't have a lot of saying, this is more a no for me. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You want to understand the entire process, essentially, not only from the decision making, but also the planning and strategy. And then you'll gladly, let's say, execute, as you said. But if you don't have this, then no. Yeah, I can resonate with that also. So talk a little bit about the accelerator program. It was the Dream Driven Accelerator, yes? So how do you make sense of sprints, and also the timing that you need to have this project completed, let's say? Is there something that relates to you for your own autonomy? Let's say, so like, for example, is how important would these sprints be for you? Do you also see them as maybe you'll have a sprint once a month, or maybe twice a month, or etc., maybe even, let's say, only every 2 months? Like your relationship with the accelerator.
And what do you mean with the sprints?
For your own autonomy, for your own autonomy, and also for when you go and create work. Do you view this accelerator method as also very valuable, or you also want to minimize it because maybe it's too much?
But do you see the accelerator as one sprint, or
however you see it?
Yeah. So the accelerator was really accelerating, I would say. So for my autonomy, because through that I had to think a lot about like my vision and how I want to work, and it was a lot about experimentation and failing, and then again rebuilding, and so it was super valuable, and we also were held like accountable. We had to set our goals and then like fulfill them, and we also had like mentoring. So I would say the accelerator and from Dream Driven really, they wanted to support us in our own vision and ideas. You
had the experience on the accelerator, right, in the Dream Driven. And how do you manage this sense of having sprints, but also mentorship, and how does it relate to your own autonomy so you don't burn out?
It is like when I'm working on my own projects, I don't have a strong problem with burnout, because it's kind of giving me energy back. This is why I'm also like going this direction of entrepreneurship, because it sometimes even gives me energy. So this is kind of my solution for that. And in other jobs, I had this problem that I was so drained, and so that's why I want to build more and pour more in my own projects and like my business, because then I don't have like the problem with burnout.
That's really critical, that it gives you energy. Right. So I've had the problem before where I would basically tell myself, oh, this is really important and I love this, but deep down I actually didn't. And you can have this problem where you're actually giving too much energy in the end. And, it'll be like a mini burnout for me, right? But this is why I'm so interested in not only your story, but the creative side of and how you can learn from that. And also, let's say you can have so many business ideas from it. Ultimately gives you energy, right? So that's what's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So like what I mentioned before, I had like mini burnouts where my body was like giving me signals. Yes. And this was before mentally I would say, okay, maybe this is not it. But yeah, then I could sense that.
It's the sensing that's important. So then I want to go more into now what you've been working on as of late, not only Soul Studios, but your experience in the Dream Driven Accelerator. So let's say through building digital templates and also these experiences, is there now a core philosophy, not only for, we've mentioned your autonomy, right? And also that you want to do things that give you energy, but is there a core philosophy that you still want to follow through all this?
Yes, I think continuing to do things who are out of the box and who make me curious, and then to refine it after some time, because when you do something new, sometimes it can be messy, but then to trust that that's a process and there will be some valuable thing in it, like with Kami Studio, and then after some time you will find that.
Curiosity. Yes, I love that. Yeah. Now we're going to go more into specifically yourself, let's say more on resilience, balance, or personal growth. So for example, you've naturally navigated through a lot of transitions, as we mentioned, and also different environments. So what would you say emotionally was the hardest part? And doesn't have to relate to, we said that some of the structured work, right, can work basically give you a sickness. Is there something besides that?
Yes. Yeah, I think the hardest part emotionally was sometimes when I started to compare myself to other people who maybe have a more linear path, I would say. And I did more experiments in my past years, like a lot actually. And so sometimes like when the people already were in a higher position and would earn more, then I thought like, okay, what I'm doing with my life. But then I just like have to remind myself, okay, actually this is your path and you're doing that because you want to find what is fitting to you, and you're not just doing what is like was laid out for you. So this is how I then came back to myself again. But yeah, of course, when you start to compare, that's always like the thing which can crush you, especially when people just stayed in one lane.
Exactly. And there's so much data to back it, right? The specialists will tend to earn more money, right, over the short term especially. But people that will be more like, let's say, multidisciplinary or a generalist, they can, over the long term, earn more. But it's not just about earning more, right? We keep touching on similar points on self-autonomy and also giving energy to yourself through work, right? So I think that's equally, if not more important.
Yeah.
I think, right? Yeah. So is there specific habits or routines that you have iterated or you still follow in the past few years that has helped you in this process?
The most important thing is sports for me, because it keeps me grounded, and I kind of do it almost every day. Because when I work a lot and sit in front of a computer, I also have to move myself, and then it also restores my energy. And but also like the basics, like eating healthy and getting good sleep. So I'm not not one of the 5 a.m. club, but I'm like just want to have my 8 hours of sleep. That's important.
And what about what specific sports or what specific, let's say, food do you prefer? Is there something that you take from back home, from what you've learned from, let's say, international students, or also like specifically the physical activity, let's say?
Yeah, like I am really a cardio person. Like I love cardio or high intensity training because then I can just really bring out my whole like energy and power. And so like this year I were running a lot because I was training for a marathon.
Okay, wow.
And this also teach me a lot about like resilience and working towards a goal. Yes, so I try to keep working as important as working out. So this is then my way, and like eating healthy is for me more like natural. I'm not following some diet, but it should be
organic.
Organic, organic and vegetarian, and
Okay, So then it's so important naturally to have these routines and these goals, and also, as you mentioned, autonomy and projects that give you energy, right?
Yeah.
Do not drain you. So then if you look, let's say in the next 5-10 years, where do you see yourself professionally, but also, let's say, in the more casual, because we want to have this balance, generally speaking, of the activity or the being active, right? But also having these works that really give you a lot of purpose.
Yes, where I see myself. So I see myself like pouring even more in my own projects and kind of bringing all the skills together, and building the START studios and also my other endeavor and my other projects, and also like sticking to my routines. And I think when you have like those habits and systems, the other stuff will take care of itself. So like, and I don't work with specific goals because my projects change very much. So I was like, I'm just going with the process. Yeah,
that's very important also. I think I've learned that the hard way. For sure. I would set these very specific goals, or let's say, but in relation more to the projects or the career, especially in entrepreneurship. I've also have done 2 incubators and 1 accelerator, but they're just, let's say, for a 5-month period. But still, things can change, and I think it's maybe the founder's curse. You can go in with a lot of optimism and a lot of determination, but things will fail essentially, right?
Yes.
But do you think also? I just remembered. Do you think people have a space or a community to do these kinds of things? But I don't just mean the existing ones of accelerators and incubators, but more for discovering, let's say, this creative side if they don't have it, let's say.
You mean people who are interested in creativity and design and who want to learn it?
Yes. So I'll have a more specific example. Let's say you are finishing gymnasium or the high school, right? And you've done, as you did, more creative, more design. And then now with your direct experience, you're learning the business. So for me, it would be the opposite, right? I have the business aspect and I want to go into more creativity. So do you think there are these communities for this, or should you go more into your own projects, let's say?
I guess there are communities for that. Like there are a lot of courses you can take, and also like schools, and of course you can study it. But I think nowadays you can also do your own projects and then learning by doing, and because you have so much free knowledge online.
Yeah, especially, but also there can be the argument that there's too much information. People will say it's mostly just noise or just crap, for lack of a better word. So is there a tool or a way that you can identify for yourself, like this is going to be meaningful, this is going to be great? Because remember we touched on that we don't want to just focus on executing the project, but we want to understand the entire thing. So how do you, if you're looking or reading or just researching, find, let's say, a golden nugget in this sea of noise, let's say?
Yeah, the good thing is like nowadays, like with all the AI tools, where you can like kind of use just text prompts, and they will code for you and also design for you. You can actually think about what project or what business or solution you want to build, and then go from there and then build something. And you don't have to be a design pro. You can just find what you like, some inspirational designs and pictures, collect that and kind of do everything maybe at the beginning a bit messy, and the AI will kind of help you. And so it's you can see it more as like building something, and kind of was the
No, I completely get you. It's I think of like the example of how people can go into sculpting, and they're just going to go and keep at it. I mean, it's not directly to like, let's say it's messy, but we know that there is going to be a statue underneath all this clay or ceramic or etc. Right? But going at it, eventually you can create something very unique, very individual, and it's going to be ultimately expressing everything that you love. So that's kind of like the frame that I sometimes use.
Yes. Yeah, what I also want to say now is that all these tools, the AI tools and stuff, they're making the execution side of design easier, or they're just taking it over. So like many say it will, like graphic design will kind of die in the next years, but I don't think so. But what we'll say is like that you get that you have to have some taste. So you can train your taste, like by looking at design work, which is like really like professional and which you find like great, and then train your taste. And this is a thing I think will bring you forward in the future. Okay, that's interesting. Also, it can relate to, let's say, judgment, right? But more specifically in design, it's style and taste. Because an AI is just gonna just show you what you directly want in a prompt, more or less. I know it's a generalization, but that's an interesting point. You can't yet, let's say, hopefully, have an AI that can just have such refined taste. And let's say in design specifically, I think you can just see generally a creation that's just looks generic, right? It's lacking something. Yeah. But now they are all kind of the same. You can see when it's like AI generated, and you can be then the creative director. This is like the role, which I think is important. Okay. Then do you also have, let's say, what would you say to younger creatives? Is there an underrated skill that, even from your own experiences growing up and also now in professional experiences, is there something that has tied it all along, or something to motivate if someone would love to hear this underrated skill? Yes, I would say it's courage, because when you're in a creative space, it's very saturated, and you have to kind of have the courage to step out and experiment, so something unique comes out. And this is the thing. And also like you want to stand out with your portfolio and your work. Yeah, and some of my professors also said like, hey, okay, you have to be bolder, Vanessa, and do something. Not like sometimes as a creative you stay in the style you always did, but sometimes it's good actually to try something new.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And like courage is the number one thing essentially, because I think everything will follow after you have that and commit to something. Yeah. Okay, then I think we're approaching now the end of this podcast. I want to thank you heartfeltly, for sure, Vanessa, for giving us so much wisdom and through your experience. Is there a final word or phrase that you would love to also add to the younger creatives, let's say?
Yes. So my final tip, I would say, is like, don't be boring and share online, because then opportunities can come to you, and you don't have to chase opportunities, and everybody can see how you build.
Sweet. Okay. Thank you.